Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
I'm James Creechbaum with the Paranormal and World News. Well, apparently 145 graves were discovered beneath a Florida school in Tampa. Yes, apparently a cemetery historian was doing some research and came to the school and said, hey, it was built on a cemetery. And unfortunately, the old scenario, they did not remove the bodies. And they did some ground-penetrating radar. And what do they find? Upwards of 145 graves, and there could be as high as 250 graves. Oh, boy. Next, there was a large fireball seen streaking across the sky in Polk County, Oregon. Now, it was reported to the sheriff's office as maybe a plane going down. However, one of the thoughts was maybe it was one of the meteors from the meteor shower that was seen Thursday night. But, however, that meteor shower was not able to be seen in the west. So, they went there, couldn't find anything, nothing found. So was still untold what that could be. Also, a lost hiker claims that a ghost led him to safety. In Taiwan, apparently an older man was out hiking in the mountains, got lost his way for almost 9 days. And upwards of 400 people were out looking for him, from volunteers to the police to the rangers and other people. Did not find him, not once, couldn't find him anywhere. So in his story, he was traveling along and he came across this couple, and they guided him back to the trail. And once he got on the trail in a ways and they were walking with him, he turned around to thank them, and they were just totally gone. So in his mind, he thinks they were spirits. So apparently 2 spirits of a couple guided him to safety. And that's his story. So that's something to ponder. Also, Black-Eyed Kid, a late-night encounter. This came across just within the last week to 10 days. This lady was walking along the road, and she's seen a couple kids up on the road, so she kind of stayed in the wood line a little bit. And then she's seen a car coming up the road, and so she jumped out and kind of tackled the little girl, to keep from getting hit by this car. And she's on top of her, and it's got a death grip on her, the little girl, and she looked in her eyes, can see nothing but, deadness, and it's just kind of like weird thoughts ran through her head. It was all black-eyed little girl. And the next thing you know, the boy wrestled her off of her and then had a grip on her, and she finally broke free and then took off sprinting as they chased her. And they chased her for a ways till she finally lost them, but that was a Black-Eyed Kid encounter that happened just recently. Also, NASA says there's an asteroid the size of Egypt pyramid that may soon hit Earth. Now, this pyramid, think about it, the size of this asteroid size of a pyramid, and they give the date that it's going to be a real close flyby. If maybe it's a possible chance it could be too close, and that is on May 6th of 2012. Next newscast at the top of the hour.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Well, anyway, what can I say? That James, I was reading about that asteroid. It could go either way in 2012. That's scary, you know that?
Yeah, was it 2022? I think it was. But yeah, that is scary. It's going to fly by, and the projection. Any different things of different gravities from different bodies of other asteroids or planets or whatever could throw that off enough to be a little too close, so to speak. And those are scary. And they're predicting in May of I think it was 2022. But yeah, that's scary. And something the size of the pyramid. That's big. It's going to cause some serious damage.
Oh, yeah, it could. It could take out the size of a city. And if it hits in the ocean, what I read, well, I hope everybody has life jackets and some type of protection, because it could come into the land. We're talking miles and miles. Something the size of a pyramid. Even a bus size could take out a city, but something a pyramid could very much be, extinction. Yeah, that depends on where it lands, because it's going to toss so much debris up in the atmosphere. We're going to go into nighttime 24/7. The temperatures are going to drop. No plants are going to grow. It's going to be a scary situation. So hopefully we figure out a way to divert things by then, or hopefully it skims by and doesn't hit. But then if it doesn't hit this time, then when's it going to hit again? That's the scary part. The one that just passed Earth again the other day, I think like over this weekend, they didn't even realize it was there oh my God, there's an asteroid coming towards Earth. I mean, it is scary. Sometimes, before they started telling people about this stuff, it was so much nicer. Now it just gives you one more thing to have to worry about each day.
Yeah, it seems like every week or every other week there's one or two reports of these getting real close, or they discover another one, or they don't even spot if it's coming in through the sun, through where the sun is. They can't see them, apparently, until they're right up on top of us. And by then it's too late. So, yeah, I remember the one that it was supposedly going to miss a few months back, and what it ended up
a month ago. It went in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, especially when they said, it's going to miss us by, this amount of distance. Well, their calculation was so far off. All it takes, is to, run into another piece of space debris, another small rock or anything, and it can nudge it off its trajectory. So it could, 2012 is not that far away, and it's scary. Think about it, folks. If we don't have to, we were worrying about what's going on in Washington, D.C., we're worried about Antarctica, we're worried about all this other stuff. Just one more thing to put on the stack. Well, 2012, we might not be here after that. I don't know.
Right, exactly. And, another scary thought that kind of stoked the fire a little bit. Imagine if that hit where Old Faithful is in the middle of the super volcano and triggered all that.
Well, then you can say that's more than a life extinction. That is going to be a major thing. But even if it hits anywhere, it would take out New York totally. But again, I was reading what would happen after the math. So what's the difference if you get taken out now, or you're dead 3 months later or 6 months later? I mean, maybe the people, I hate to say this, if it does hit, it takes them out. At least they're not going to be going through all the emotional stress and suffering. And I want to say hi to Karen Banks. She's on here for change here. But, that's scary. Also, you were talking about this school. I was reading about that today, that all these bodies buried in it. What happened to the school? Why were they burying bodies? Something was going on. Were they getting money from the state and then offing these people and then burying them?
No, what happened, it was a cemetery from 1942 to 1959. And you know how real estate is, hungry for property. Well, I guess they bought that property and they forgot to move the bodies. And it was supposed to be, it was a cemetery more for poor people, less for people with not much money. And it was upwards of 250, maybe 800 people buried there. And they did ground penetrating radar, and they found 145 so far graves, and it could be up to way more. So, there's a lot of unrestful spirits there, to say the least.
Well, I tell you, what type of school was it?
I don't know if it was elementary. It was I don't know if it was elementary or junior high, but it was in the Tampa area.
I would refuse to go to, if I was a kid and a kid's parent, I would say, hey, my kid ain't going to that school. I tell you what, a lot of strange, creepy, poltergeist things can happen, with that many bodies there. I wouldn't even want to, they might close that school up. Its history is gone.
I'm telling you, there was a school in Ireland. It was on all the shows just last year of poltergeist activity. At night, they were showing, the cameras, and there's nobody even in the school at, midnight, 2 in the morning, stuff going all over the place. And come to find out it was buried on, again, an old cemetery, and they did not move the bodies. And, that's one way these people, when they do that, they cut costs and think, way back when they did all this stuff, they didn't think about all this. So let's just cut costs and we won't tell nobody. That takes a lot of time and money to move the bodies. But even when you do that legitly, you're upsetting some spirits. You need to leave that stuff alone.
Yeah, but is the spirit with the body, or is the spirit already left? Okay, we talk about how our life could be nothing more than a life on a computer chip, basically, or a hologram or something like this. So when we die, is our body still our spirit with our body? What happens when you're cremated, James?
Listen, good question.
What happens to your spirit then? I mean, you don't have a vessel to go back to. It's gone. Why would a spirit want to hang around? That's like if you got a computer and your hard drive fails, right? So you take it in the shop, they take that old hard drive out, they toss it in the recycle thing, and they put a new hard drive in it. Is that spirit going to go to that new hard drive? I don't think so.
But here's the thing. You're right. The spirit totally is gone. However, some spirits don't cross over and they linger. And then there's